Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. On this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users getting the folks answers they need from an employment attorney. Now, we have a question today that has been asked to YouTube search 3,600 times in recent memory. And it goes a little something like this. What does HR do? What does human resources do? It's a pretty simple question. Got a pretty simple answer. People think HR is there to protect the employees. It's got a name, human resources. Sounds kind of helpful. They're there for the people. They're there to help humans, right? Think about it. Human resources. If you look at humans, human beings, as just resources, yeah, it's in the name, right? But let's not get funny. What does HR really do? It's there to protect your employer from liability. If they can do that by preventing bad things from happening, they will. That's the ideal. They want to make sure you're paid correctly, you're working the correct hours, you get the correct breaks, you're free from workplace discrimination, you're not being sexually harassed, free from retaliation. That's the goal. They would like to prevent bad things happening because bad things give rise to claims against your employer where your employer can get sued. And that's what HR is trying to prevent. That's their whole game, right? That's what they do for a living. It's what they get paid for. But what if they can't prevent it? What if something bad does happen and somebody comes to HR, one of the employees, and they complain? What does HR do then? Well, they keep on trying to protect that employer. They're going to try to make it look like they did an investigation. And if the best way to protect the employer is to protect you, they will. They will. If the best way to protect the employer from liability is to do right by the employee, they will. If a bad guy sexually harasses someone and it's obvious it happened and there's 10 witnesses and that bad guy is not so important, he doesn't make a ton of money for the employer, then yeah, he's going to get fired. That's an easy choice for HR. That guy's not that valuable. We can avoid lots and lots of liability for the employer if we fire him. So we will. But what if it's not so clear? What if it's he said, she said? Well, they do an investigation to make it look like they investigated, but there's no witnesses. Hypothetically, the sexual harassment happened. The two people were alone in an elevator. There's no witnesses, right? And so it's he said, she said. In HR, they did the investigation. They met with their affirmative duties under the law. And they just arrived at the idea like, hey, it doesn't look like anything happened here. Not because they don't believe you necessarily, but because writing that report that says, hey, we investigated and it looks like nothing happened here, could help their employer later if there's a lawsuit. Yeah. And the reality is that's what 9 out of 10 HR reps are going to do, right? There's heroes. I can think of a couple right now who went over and above to really help their coworkers, their colleagues. They really fought hard to do the right thing. But the thing with heroes is they're special because they're rare, right? It's hard to be a hero when you're working HR. You got a mortgage, you got a family, you got kids to feed, right? If you don't protect that employer, if you do something that's better for the employee but bad for the employer, yeah, what are the chances you're going to have your job next year? Pretty low. Pretty low, right? That's part of the game. If you don't protect the employer, you're not succeeding as an HR professional, and you're probably not going to be employed too long. So the reality is they have to choose sometimes between helping the employee and doing the right thing or doing their job and protecting the employer from liability. If that means taking witness statements from employees while they're being intimidated, some HR reps are going to do that. If that means getting you in while you're nervous after something bad happened to you and making you sit down with an attorney from the company and face a panel of 4 people while you share your story, and you're all nervous and you don't do a good job sharing your story, so it sounds less credible, and they have everything documented in a transcript that makes you sound like you don't even know what happened, and then that's going to help them in a lawsuit 6 months later, they'll do it, right? That's one of the problems with going to internal EEO for an investigation. Internal EEO is run by your employer. The employees of your employer run that investigation. Odds are, because they're being paid by your employer, the investigation findings might be as beneficial as they can be for your employer. That is often the case. So never ever forget, HR will help you if in helping you it helps your employer. But their real job is to protect your employer from liability, to protect your employer from lawsuits. And sometimes to do that, employees have to get hurt. And a lot of HR professionals, they'll do it. That's the gig. That's what they signed up for. And they want to keep that job. So they do what they have to. I hope this answers your questions. I know lots of really great HR professionals. I'm not saying HR professionals are bad people. I'm just saying when times get bad, it can be really hard to be an HR professional and make choices about if you're going to help an employee or keep your job. That's a tough call. I don't think I really want to be in that position, if I'm being honest. But HR professionals often end up there, and that's tough. It's tough. And I'm telling you, as somebody who represents a lot of employees, a lot of people have experienced bad things in the workplace, most HR professionals, when push comes to shove, are going to do what they can to protect that company, because protecting that company protects their job. Anyways, I hope this answers the question. 3,600 people asked it, so I guess people were wondering. If it did answer that question, like, subscribe, comment down below, share our channel so it can grow. Don't be afraid to put a question down below. I'll track the comments. I'll try to get you answers if you have any questions. If it wasn't helpful, go ahead and give me that thumbs down. Fair enough. I get it. It is what it is. I'm trying my best, but I get it. Maybe this isn't what you're looking for. Okay, everybody. Good luck out there. Good luck with HR. I hope you're in a good place. I hope your employer is fantastic. I hope your HR professional is, in fact, a hero, not a zero. Take care.